Hello, everybody. Happy hump day. It's Wednesday. And it's raining. In LA here, it's raining, which, doesn't happen very often, but we all need it a little bit, I guess. So, what's the topic for today's live? Well, we're going to be talking about the K-1 visa and the personal meeting requirement, and then how you can waive that. Okay, because I get a lot of emails and consults and questions, about how, they've met someone online type thing and they want to get married and do the K-1, but they never met him in person. What can they do? So that's what we'll be talking about on this fine Wednesday morning. And then what I'll do is I will go back and I will answer all of the questions that you guys post. And I'll scroll back up. I'll go question by question until either I get to the end or if there's too many questions when I have to leave. And then at that point, if I do have to leave, you can email me, send me a message on TikTok, go to Facebook, all the normal social media stuff. I have it all, and I'll be able to get back to you at that point. And you could always call my office for a consultation, 562-495-0554, and they'll schedule you for the next available consultation, okay? So that's that. So let's get into it. So the K-1 is the Fiancé visa, okay? And the bottom line requirement is that you need to have met your fiancé within 2 years of filing the petition. If you met your fiancé 2 years and 1 day ago when the petition's filed, then that requirement's not met. If you never met them, then the requirement's not met. So the question is, can you do a waiver of the personal meeting requirement in order to still do the K-1 fiancé visa? And yes, it's possible to do a waiver, but it's not easy. Okay? Now, that might be a ha-ha laugh because nothing is easy in immigration these days, ever, actually. And it's even more difficult these days. However, when you do the waiver, there's various grounds that have better chances of success, and there's various ways of preparing it. But let me tell you what doesn't qualify for a waiver. You're busy. It's too expensive to go to the country. You don't have time, or work won't let you off. Okay? That will never pass. Okay? It's not going to happen. Don't waste your time filing a waiver if you're going to say that work's not going to let you off or you have no free time. Immigration could care less. You'll get a denial faster than it took you to put a stamp on the envelope. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to have a real reason for the waiver, okay, of the personal meeting requirement. Otherwise, you're just going to have to meet your fiancé, period. And it's not like if your fiancé's in Africa, you have to travel all the way to Africa, okay? You can find some halfway point. Have a vacation, okay? It doesn't matter where you meet your fiancé. You just have to meet your fiancé, okay? But let's get into the ways that you can try to file a waiver. One is religious, okay? If you are in a particular religion where culturally you do not meet your fiancé before you're married, then that's fine, okay? That's okay, that's acceptable, but you still have to file the waiver. And it can't be just a simple, well, it's part of the religion, therefore we're not going to meet. Okay, it's your burden to get them to say yes to the waiver. So you have to show the religious practices in detail. You have to have declarations of why this particular religious, practice exists, what it means, why you can't do it, how long it's been, that you're of that religion, the whole type of stuff. You can even get supporting declarations from your, religious leader, whoever that happens to be and whatever they happen to be called. Okay, so religious reasons is a good reason. One, another one are medical reasons. Okay, let's say for whatever reason you can't fly or you can't travel. Let's say you have some doctor note that says, and I'll exaggerate, let's say if you go on a plane, you're going to die. Okay, or let's say that if you travel more than 6 hours, your whatever medical condition you have is going to get a lot worse. Okay, or let's say that if you do travel, minus anything else, that this and that will medically happen to you. Okay, so that's one reason that would be good in which to do a waiver. Okay, where you have a medical reason not to travel. Okay, so religious, medical, what else? Okay, let's say there's some type of ban or bar from you going into the country that your fiancé is. Okay, I don't know why that might exist. Strangely enough, it might exist because you have a criminal history and you're not allowed in the country. Okay, I mean, you might need a criminal waiver apart from the waiver of the meeting requirement, but that's a whole different story. But if that exists and you're not allowed in the country, then of course that's a good reason why you didn't meet your fiancé. I mean, obviously they could say, well, why didn't your fiancé come here and blah, blah, blah. But, if you physically cannot get into the country, then that's fine. If there is some kind of ban or embargo, if there's a war, if there's personal safety problems with you entering the U.S., then of course that would definitely be a ground to do this particular waiver. Okay? So those are the three major grounds: religious, medical, and some kind of physical barrier of some sort, political perhaps, not being able to get into the country. Okay? So how do you prepare the waiver? Well, obviously, if it goes through my firm, we do the legal brief, which shows all the reasons legally allowing the waiver and why it can be done and how why it should be approved. But you want to have, the legal reasons why you're allowed the waiver. And then, of course, you want to have a bunch of supporting declarations, because the declarations are where the facts come from. So obviously you have the supporting declaration. Your fiancé likely will have one. You'll have ones depending on why you're doing the waiver. Okay, so if it's medical, you'll get supporting documentation medically from the doctors or therapists or, whatever it is that's creating the problem. If it's religious, again, from the religious leaders. If it's political, you might pull a State Department report, or you might pull some kind of information from Amnesty International, something showing that you can't get in. Okay, so those would be what's done. And then, of course, you'll request at the end, based on the declarations, the law, the legal argument, why the waiver should be granted. And if it is granted, then voila! You'll be able to get in, and you'll be able to have the K-1 issued without ever personally meeting your fiancé. And then once your fiancé comes in the U.S., then of course you have 90 days to get married and then do the adjustment of status. Okay? And like I was saying, if one reason you can't get in the country is because of criminal reasons, and they won't allow you in, you, of course, this is kind of a tricky situation, but you're going to have to submit your criminal documents to show that you are inadmissible and then show why. And then, of course, by doing that, you're admitting to the crime and all this other stuff. And then, that'll open up the door, which you'd have to do anyways, for a criminal waiver, likely, that will have to be done in addition to the personal meeting requirement. All right? So that, in a nutshell, is what is required to do a waiver to be able to waive the personal meeting requirement for a K-1 fiancé petition. And then some tips on how to prepare it. All right? So In a nutshell, short and sweet to the point. So, let's scroll back here and see if we have any questions. And if so, I will answer them. So, how is everybody doing today? I heard a good, well, I don't know if it's good, but I heard a knock knock joke. Knock knock, who's there? Car who? Car vroom! Okay, maybe that wasn't so good. Okay, let's see what questions we have here. I'm scrolling down now, so be patient with me. Ice removal operations got the #1 gifter badge. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Sometimes we don't have a lot of questions. Sometimes we have so many questions I can't get to it. Just kind of depends on what the day is. I'm thinking because it's rainy today, there'll be less questions. Is that true or false? Okay. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. I just pressed something. It says, encourage your viewers to help me achieve my first goal, and I'll sing a song. If I sing a song, everybody's going to leave. I guarantee you. You're going to think I'm joking when I sing how bad I sing, but I'm not. Okay, have you ever worked in law enforcement, surrenders, 212D5, and so forth? I mean, I've never worked in law enforcement. I've been an immigration attorney. Okay, that's all I've done. Of course, before an immigration attorney, which I've been doing for 30-some years now, I was a computer programmer. Business degree, computer programming, all that other stuff. But you don't need to work in law enforcement, to do the 212D5. If you're asking, have I ever worked with law enforcement on parole cases for 212D5s, the answer is yes. Okay. A 212D5 is a parole, and that basically means permission to enter the U.S. for all kinds of reasons. So, if, for example, the person has to act as a witness, we can get a 212D5 to bring them in as a witness, and then we can try to get them an S visa. Okay, that's how that works. Okay, so Ramaswamy just got the #2 gifter badge in Lincoln, Illinois. I bet you it's cold there now. Yeah. Marley just got the 3 gifter badge. Thank you. All right. What do you think of illegals not being subject to U.S. jurisdiction like diplomats? Okay, if I understand what you're saying, you're basically, it's different. I mean, diplomats have diplomatic immunity. Okay, and by diplomatic immunity, that means that if they do something bad, they're not going to get prosecuted. That's the exact opposite of the people who are here illegally. There's no way on this God's green earth that would ever pass. They are not only getting prosecuted, but what Trump just signed, which this is going to go to court. I mean, I have to look and see if it's already in court. He's allowing the detention of people who have been accused of crimes. Okay? Because they've been accused of crimes. And that's just not lawful. Okay? It's one thing detaining them because they might not have legal status. Okay, that's one thing. But detention and then deportation because of an accused crime is definitely putting the cart before the horse, and it is definitely saying someone is guilty before they've had the opportunity to fight their case. So, if they're going to try to deport someone because they're not here lawfully, they have the right to do that. And, you can fight the case and all that. But if they try to deport them without a hearing, okay, this is what's on the table. Deport them without a hearing because they've been accused of a crime, that's just not legal. That's in complete violation of the Constitution. They have to have their day in court. Okay? People can be accused of crimes and the case can get dismissed. It can even go to a jury trial and the jury can find them innocent. I mean, the whole purpose of the U.S. criminal system is they are innocent until proven guilty. Okay? So you cannot grab someone up and deport them because they've been accused of a crime. Because what you're saying is they're now inadmissible because they've committed the crime and have a conviction. But they don't. They haven't committed the crime. They haven't received a conviction. They've been accused of the crime. If they are ultimately convicted, then yes, put them in removal proceedings, let them fight their case, and if they get removed, they get removed. But don't do that when they've just been accused, okay? I'm telling you, that's going to go to court and go all the way up. He doesn't have a realistic chance on that. Just saying. Okay. Adjustment of status as the derivative primary petitioner for an I-130. Mom was primary, grandfathered in. Okay, you have some questions here, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. If an I-130 was filed, okay, let's say mother and father, mother, is the U.S. citizen, petitioned the father, and the father gets, the green card based on the I-130. The question is, can the son or daughter, for example, be brought in and do an adjustment as a derivative? And it's possible to do a following to join. Okay, normally that goes through the consulate. And you don't have to do another I-130. It's not a matter of being grandfathered in. It's a matter of whether you are a derivative or not. Okay, if you age out, that's when grandfathered in comes in. If you age out, can you still be treated as a child under immigration laws to come in as a dependent? And that depends if the date stopped. That depends on several things. If you fall under what's called the CSPA and it took them a long time to adjudicate the I-130, and if you do the mathematical calculations, if under that you're under 21. So there's a lot to pull out from that question that isn't, the facts aren't there, okay? But I just give you the basis. Okay, Marmalade got the number 2 gifter badge. Appreciate it. Okay, now if the cartel is to declare terrorists in Mexico, fear of the kill. Okay, there's not a question there. Although I can tell you that I saw this morning a newscast by the president of Mexico basically saying the government is not part of the cartel and the bringing of the fentanyl. And, she was essentially saying that it's U.S. selling guns to the gangs in Mexico that are increasing it and this and that. So the trade wars have begun. Okay, I just submitted the I-129F on Monday. Well, you're going to have a little bit of a wait, and hopefully it'll get approved. I don't know I don't know if you've submitted the K-1, for example, if you've done the personal meeting requirement, and if you haven't, you're going to need to do the waiver. Okay, let's see. Just a minute. It scrolled way back up again, so I have to see if I missed anything. Just a minute. Okay. All right. 1 second. Okay. It looks like I got to the end of the questions for today. All right. Well, that's it for today. Relatively short live. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your week. I'll be on next with the next subject coming up in another couple days, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody have a good day. Where did my button to exit go? They changed it. This is crazy. They changed the button for me to exit. Okay, there we go. Got it. All right, sorry about that. All right, everybody have a good day.